Hey everybody, it is Michelle Fox, and I am here live today with my friend Katie Giroudi, and this is going to be such an awesome time today. I hope that lots of you are able to join live, and as you join us, if you could let us know in the comments. So first, I need to give you a little reminder that if you are watching on Facebook, that you need to give StreamYard permission to view your name, and that way we know who's talking to us. Otherwise, we just see a vague Facebook user. We don't know who's actually on, and we love to chat with you back and forth. So give StreamYard permission, and that link will be in the description of the video. So I just want to let you know that you are going to hear from someone who really knows her stuff. Okay. If I ever have a question about anything to do with healthy lifestyle, and I'm talking cleaning products, food, baby stuff, makeup, skincare, hair care, anything under the sun, Katie knows the answer. She has studied extensively, and she is incredibly intelligent and well-spoken, and just has
You're
such
gonna
a
make me
wide,
blush.
vast knowledge. Truly, I mean, so get your questions ready and feel
Oh
free
boy.
to ask, because
Okay.
she will answer them. But I just want to, I just can't say enough about her, and I'm going to let her explain her background a bit. So I'm giving myself goosebumps because you're just so amazing. So Katie, just kind of give us an understanding of why did you all of a sudden, because you weren't like this forever, like you weren't
No.
raised in a home like this. So
Nope.
what was going on in your life that made you think, I'm going to live a toxin-free lifestyle? What was going on? What brought you to that place? And what were the first few steps that you took? So just take us back, Katie.
Back and back.
Okay.
Well, thank you for the introduction. I feel like the pressure's on, but that's okay. I appreciate that. Yeah, like you said, I did grow up in a very conventional American home. 80s, 90s. I grew up in the 90s, and I was used to McDonald's and pizza, and Bath and Body Works was like my favorite place in high school. Favorite place. And I've gotten to a point now where I can't even like walk past the store because it bothers me so much. But
Hmm.
by the time I got married, I was in my mid-20s, and I was taking 3 prescription drugs every day just to live, just to get by. So a couple years after we got married, we decided to try to start a family. And that was when kind of one of the first big blows happened. Was I had a miscarriage, and there was no explanation. Now, sometimes there just is no explanation, but for me, that wasn't good enough. So
Mhm.
I'm kind of like, well, I want to know why, and I want to know how to prevent it in the future. And then my husband, who I thought was like the epitome of health, I just thought he was so healthy. Um, we discovered the following summer that he had a tumor on the base of his skull. So it was kind of like, okay,
Wow.
the miscarriage and then that. And then I was like, wait a second, like, why? Like, how healthy are we really? Like, I thought we were doing all the things we were supposed to do, go to the doctor, go to the dentist, brush your teeth, eat whatever. I thought we were doing all the right things. But I kind of started to look into like what they call alternative health in this country, which is actually what used to be kind of the main
Normal.
source of health and wellness. Yeah, normal. And I started realizing there were a lot of changes that we could make. And for
Mhm.
us, we actually started that journey with food. And one of the first things we did was we switched our beef to grass fed beef. That was one of the first things we did. I remember that. There's a
Mm.
local farm, you probably heard of them, Creswick Farms. We started getting our beef from them, and also started to try to get more organic produce, at least the Dirty Dozen, which we can talk about that later if people have questions. But just making like small changes.
Mhm.
And that kind of led to, okay, what else? Oh, you mean the stuff I put on my skin affects my body? Well, it
Mhm.
does. It absorbs into your bloodstream. The things you eat, they have the chance of being filtered through your liver. The things you put on your skin, Your skin is a carrier, not a barrier. That's one thing that I've been hearing repeatedly over the last many years of this journey. Your skin is a carrier, not a barrier.
Hmm.
So yes, it protects you from some elements, but the chemicals you put on your skin, they get absorbed into your bloodstream and they do affect your body. So that was kind of like really eye-opening to me.
That's good. That's a good phrase. That's really interesting. Wow. You've been through a lot.
Yeah.
How much time did it take then? So like when I hear something new, it's just so hard for me to process it all. So you're hearing about all of these changes that you could make. You start with food. How long did it take for you to make all of these changes, and how did you decide, okay, first we're going to do food, and then what did you do next? And do you remember kind of the timeline of the changes that you made?
Well, I know we started making the changes a couple years after we got married. That was our first miscarriage. So that was 11 years ago. We've been married for 13 years. So it was about 11 years ago. And I also, like, I try to tell people too, if this is something that matters to them, to try not to take on the whole world all at once. I do tend to be that way. I'm kind of an all or nothing, black or white kind of person.
Me too.
But for your mental health, which
Mhm.
also affects your physical health, you have to take it as at a pace that makes sense to you and fits into your life. So for us, it made sense to start making small changes to our diet. And I do think at the same time, I was looking at cleaning products because I remember one day after kind of starting this journey and having this bug in my ear, kind of, I had just cleaned the bathroom and I was nauseous and lightheaded.
Mm.
I'm like, it's not like I just like built a house. I shouldn't be like, it's not like I'm worn out or malnourished or something. What's going on? So we started making small changes even with that, even just switching from the toxic, fragranced, really noxious cleaners to using things more basic like hydrogen peroxide and baking soda and vinegar and, just things that were not going to cause so much damage to my body just from breathing them in. But yeah, I think we did look at diet first, and then gradually, once my eyes were open to this is not just a diet thing, it's like a whole lifestyle thing. I started to kind of incorporate little things of each area of life into this toxin-free lifestyle. So it's not like I just jumped in all at once. Our budget couldn't afford it. My brain couldn't afford it. My husband's mind could not afford it. But it has been gradual, and we are still making changes. And that's not to say that I don't allow myself some indulgences sometimes. We live in Beer City, USA. I do like a good craft brew. I still color my hair a couple times a year. There are things that I have allowed in my life, but I also feel like on a daily basis, I've eliminated so many toxins that my body can maybe handle those things a little better.
What did you, where did you find the information, when you were first exploring these topics? Where did you go to find information that you could trust? Because that's the thing.
Yeah.
Is it seems like
Google, of course.
Well, yeah, there you go.
There is a lot out there on the internet. And I did find that I guess it's the same with books too. I mean, it is harder to get a book published than it is to just put something on the internet. So there's a little more credibility with books, but people can do a study and come up with a conclusion or tell you the conclusion to come up with based on their study. For like both sides of anything. So you kind of have to use your common sense too, and what sits with you and what you think makes sense. So I think one of the first sources of information I had, I think, was EWG. That stands for the Environmental Working Group. They have a database. You can use it as an app now called Skin Deep. So when I started looking at things I put on my skin, skincare, makeup, shampoo, deodorant, I started looking stuff up in there. That
Mhm.
was like, that was a major like red flag, because I think every single product I was using was like majorly red. They rate things from like 0 to 1 being green, like it's good, it's fine, to the other scale of 9 to 10, red and orange, like you should not be using this.
Mhm.
And I think most of my stuff was very high up on that. So it got me thinking, and it got me looking harder at ingredients. And then it was showing me why it was giving those ratings and which ingredients were red flags. And that kind of just got me searching for a brand that I could trust, because I got frustrated. I
Mhm.
got frustrated by going to the store thinking, this looks better, or it says it's natural, or it says it's safe, or whatever it said, or even just a higher price tag, and it looked safer, it looked greener. And then, getting it home and looking it up online, because I didn't have an app on my phone at the
Mhm.
time, looking it up online and being like, I just spent money on this product that is still like, okay, maybe it's not a 10, maybe it's a 6, but if I want to be safe, I want to be safe.
Mhm. Yeah, I
So,
remember that too. I think you introduced me to that app or that website, and I remember the same thing, thinking, "Wait, I specifically bought that brand because it's supposed to be all natural or it's supposed to
mhm,
be green or what have you," and then I would look it up and it would be off the charts, all of these flags, like,
yeah,
"No, no, no, it has all these ingredients that you should be, worried about,"
right.
basically. And I just was like, "Well, gosh, then how in the heck are you supposed to know what to trust?" And I guess that brings us to the whole concept of greenwashing. So,
Yes.
and not everybody knows what that is, and if you don't know, get ready to be upset.
Yes.
Because the more I understand it, the more, I guess, angry I am. It just isn't right. It is not
Mhm.
right. So, can you explain to everybody what greenwashing is?
Yes. So greenwashing, should we put the slides up?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Let's put
Let
the
me
slides
do
up.
that.
I found some slides that are kind of helpful. So, it's basically kind of a did you know? We kind of talked about it, so you're kind of aware now. But there are toxic ingredients in many everyday products that we buy in the stores, even if they're marketed to be green or non-toxic, or even some of the certified organic products still have toxins in them. So greenwashing is basically any kind of misleading marketing to make something look green or healthy or toxin free, even though it still contains toxins. So, you see like seventh generation on there. You see a Neutrogena pure and whatever it says, like a baby sunscreen. Oh, it's marketed for babies. Oh, it's pure. Or it's mineral based. Um, Mrs. Meyer's Clean Day is another one. Greenworks. Those that one on the that purple shampoo bottle. I know that that brand has gotten some bad bad publicity
Mhm.
lately. Some other brands that say they're green and safe and toxin free, but basically there you have to be your own advocate for these kinds of things. You really have to turn that bottle around. Instead of looking at what's on the front with the marketing, you got to look at the back. You got to look at the ingredients and what's really in there. And there's a saying that we say that the longer the shelf life of the product, the shorter yours is if you use it. And I know
God.
that sounds kind of funny, but it's true. And there's so many toxins even in the certified organic, because they're still using toxic preservatives. So that's
Wow.
one of the major things. Um,
Oh.
so this slide you probably recognize. I know it's kind of small, you can't read everything, but a lot of these brands are kind of recognizable by their colors and their logos. There's Method, there's Alba, there's Bare Minerals, Dove. Oh gosh, I used Dove antiperspirant for so long. There's Burt's Bees, Baby Ganix, something even as simple as chapstick.
Hmm.
These numbers on here are showing you how many toxic ingredients there are in
Wow.
each of these products, not the whole brand, but the specific product.
So, and who are you getting this information from? Like, who is saying that these are toxic ingredients?
So, ingredients to avoid. So, when I was on my toxin-free journey, when I got frustrated with all the greenwashing, I was asking some fellow crunchy people who were a little further on their toxin-free journey for some advice. I think at the time I had run out of my makeup, like my foundation, and I thought, okay, I really want to look into a safer makeup. Now's the time to
Mhm.
replace that since I ran out. And I asked around, and I got a few people from some different like direct sales companies. And I was never really averse to those kinds of things. I was open to it. I think you can get a lot from direct sales that you can't get in the store.
Mhm.
Um, so I was open to hearing, but I was already reading ingredients. So I was already like privy to this whole greenwashing thing. And a couple of the brands that people approached me with, I had already looked up ingredients because I had heard about them, or I think one of them I hadn't heard about. So I looked at the ingredients. I was like, still not really what I'm looking
Mhm.
for. If I'm going to replace it and likely going to be spending a little more money on it, I want something that not only works and is nice, but it's truly toxin free. And somebody approached me about Pure Haven. And what really got me connected to her immediately and made me be like, okay, I want to know more, was she said in a private message, this is all through Facebook, um, hey, I know you commented in the group that you're looking for makeup, and I don't like to bash other brands, but just be careful out there. Some of the stuff that they're recommending, you might want to read the ingredients first. I was like, tell me more, because I'm
Mm.
already like, what do you have for me? Because I'm
Mhm.
already there. And she told me about Pure Haven, and I had never heard of it before. And it wasn't even like, oh, that sounds familiar. No, I had never heard of it before. And it was very new at the time. And so she gave me her website and I looked it up and I was like, oh my gosh, reading the story about the company, like, okay, like their values are the same as mine when it comes to ingredients. And reading their ingredients, I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. I'm like, well, what about their shampoo? I look up their shampoo. Oh yeah, that's good too. What? Oh, well, here's their ingredients to avoid. And like a lot of the things I was already looking to avoid were on their list of ingredients to avoid and some
Mhm.
extras that I didn't know about. So that is where that's coming in, those ingredients to avoid. I actually carry around pocket guides because sometimes people, oh, I don't know if you can see it with my virtual background. There we go. um, I have these like hard copies of them. And then like I also have a link if you don't want a hard copy. But it does list like the top ingredients to avoid according to Pure Haven. Sorry, it's kind of hard when you have a virtual background. Um, but just, some facts to consider about how many toxins we're exposed to every day, and then some of the major ones to watch for.
So that's something they could get from you?
Yeah, yep. I can
Okay.
pull them. I can send you a link if you just want to see the list on the website. But I was just like, this is a company for me, and I could
Mhm.
trust everything they had. So it was kind of like a one-stop shop.
Mhm.
I could really trust everything. I didn't have to worry. I still, whenever they come out with new products, though, I was telling Michelle this earlier as we were preparing for this. Whenever they come out with a new product, because it's just like ingrained into me now. I still read all the ingredients. Not
But
that I
that's
think they're ever
good. I
going to
mean, it
slip
shows
anything
that
in.
you have
Yeah.
integrity, you know?
Well, yeah.
Mhm.
I want to be able to. This is something I'm passionate about. So if I'm recommending something to someone, I want to be able to say with confidence that this is safe. Or if there's a question about something, I want to be able to contact the company and say, "Hey, what
Mhm.
is this?" And then
Mhm.
they can either explain it, or I haven't really run into anything yet. There was one thing about how they process or extract a certain essential oil that I was concerned about, and they're already like two steps ahead of me, and they're like, "Oh no, we do it this way," and blah blah blah. And that I'm like, "Okay, I guess you guys already know about that." So
That's awesome.
yeah,
That was actually, I've been researching this. I'm by not even remotely close to an expert in this field. So I've been researching it so that I could be prepared to have this conversation. And what I heard, the recommendation as far as, how do I know? How do I know what to buy, or where to go for information, or for clarity? The suggestion was to find brands that you can trust,
yeah,
because you do hear conflicting information and it is overwhelming and
yeah,
confusing, and we've only got so much time. It's like I
exactly.
can't spend my time
And
becoming a
so much,
researcher.
so much mental capacity.
Yes,
Like
yes.
I feel
So
like when I
mhm,
was pregnant and had pregnancy brain, and my friends would say, wait till you get mom brain because that never goes away. It's true. There's only
Right.
so much you can keep in there, and there's always
Yeah.
somebody that
Wait till
something.
you have
And
menopause brain.
uh,
Oh,
anyway,
yeah.
so I guess we better take care of that brain as best
Yes,
as we can.
yes.
But and if I could speak to that too about brands that you can trust, I
Yeah, I was
think
gonna
that
ask. Mhm.
so one problem is with a lot of the brands that are out there, especially the ones you can get in the stores, one of the issues is that most of them have been bought by a bigger company.
Mhm.
And those bigger companies, guess who they're owned by? The big chemical companies.
Oh my
Okay,
god.
so those chemical companies, I'm sorry, they don't have your best interest in mind. Nobody's holding them accountable. There are a few that have, gotten some bad publicity and some lawsuits, but it's like the tip of the iceberg for them. It doesn't hurt them that much.
Mhm.
So I think, like you said, having a brand that you can trust, but how do you trust that that brand hasn't been bought out and they haven't slowly changed their ingredients? Because that is an issue. I mean,
So true.
Burt's Bees is owned by, I can't remember who it is, but it's one of the bigger companies. Tom's of
Mhm.
Maine is owned by a bigger company now. They're not
Mhm.
that small, truly safe, looking out
Right,
for the little guy
right.
company anymore. So one of the things I love about having found Pure Haven is that they're never going to sell out. Like they're always accountable to us. Like if you're a
Mhm.
consultant, they're accountable to us because we mean it. Like I'm passionate about this, and so many of us are passionate about this that we're not going to let them get away with
Right.
with slowly changing things. Um, I've met the board of directors. I've met the corporate office. The CEO, the COO, the president of the board. I've met them, and they are true to their word and to this
Mhm.
mission. And
Mhm.
so I can trust that they're not going to change those values.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, so that's one thing. And last year at conference, we even had our first speaker was a chemist, and he was like one of the pioneers of green chemistry, like truly green chemistry. And he said, "You guys with Pure Haven, you don't know like how good you have it. Pure Haven is doing something that literally no one else is doing right now, and
Wow.
they are truly green. They're doing it."
That's
So,
so cool.
yeah.
Yeah. Who would think? Green chemist.
I know. Yeah.
They don't seem to go together.
Yeah.
Wow, that
I
is
don't
so
understand chemistry anyway, to be
yeah,
honest, so it was not my strong suit.
me neither. I struggled in high school with that. So I assume it's a privately owned company,
Yes,
Your
and it
Haven?
and it is direct sales, and it
Mhm.
was one of those things. I was telling Michelle before we started that I was never really averse to direct sales. I know some people are like, "Oh, it's a pyramid scheme or whatever," but I mean that's a topic for a different discussion about what that really
Mhm.
is. But I actually had a prayer that as I was learning more about true wellness and toxin-free living and healthier eating and all this kind of stuff, I was like, I would really like to be able to do this like as a job. I would like it's such a big part of my life now. I'd like to be able to share that and provide for my family as well. We had always planned when I got married, we had always planned on me staying home when we had kids. And so it took us a lot longer to have our family than we expected. So we had a lot of time to prepare for that. But in the meantime, I'm learning all this stuff, this toxin free living, how I can prepare my body and my home better for a baby, and how I can keep my baby healthier and safer maybe than I was growing up. And I was like, I really want to be able to share this, but also stay at home, but also
Mhm.
not have to go back to school and get a PhD in, naturopathy or nutrition or,
Mhm.
homeopathy or there were all these different things that I was like, oh, that would be a cool career and I could really share that. But I don't want to go back to school. I don't want to go back to school.
Mhm.
And so that was actually when Pure Haven was introduced to me when I was looking for that new makeup, and I was introduced by Martha. Martha was, we became friends and like-minded friends about this, and it was just like, this makes sense. This is something I can do. I want to share this passion with other people. And
Mhm.
I don't want to have to, search around and read all the studies, all the stuff in here. in this guide, they have references for it too, about the
Mhm.
studies that it's linked to and everything. And all the
Mhm.
information they give us is backed by, peer reviewed studies and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But I just wanted a source of, okay, I want to be able to share this information concisely and um, with an impact with other people, and also share with them, you know, like, do you need a way to make money at home with your kids? Do you need a way to save on products like this? Because let's face it, they do cost more
Right.
than what you're going to get at Walmart.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
trying to help people incorporate that into their own lifestyle and their own budget, and not just with Pure Haven, but with other things too. A
Mhm.
lot of times people are like, well, what about cleaning products? Your cleaning products are so expensive. Well, I do like our cleaning products and I use them, but a lot of the stuff we use too, like on an every occurrence basis, is like diluted vinegar and
Mhm.
peroxide, hydrogen peroxide, and baking soda. So it doesn't always have to be the more expensive option. There are ways to kind of save too.
Mhm. Is there a certain, website or place that people can go to find out those kinds of things, like all the different ways you can use peroxide and or lemon oil and
I
stuff
don't
like
have like a
that?
specific website. I do have a group on Facebook
Mhm.
um, that people can join, and it's private. So when you post stuff in there, like not everybody's going to see it. It's just the people in the group will see it. It's a very
Mhm.
small group, um, and I like to have that group because then people can ask me, and then I can go seek it out and say this, or you can search the posts in the group um, for other things that we've talked about. I occasionally post healthy recipes that were a hit with my family or that were easy, or
Mhm.
um, so recipes. Sometimes I've talked about cleaning. I kind of want to do more with it. I taught people how to make homemade mayonnaise.
I don't think it's gonna be a
So
small group much longer.
and I do talk about Pure Haven, and I post specials and stuff in there too, but I want it to be like a community where
Mhm.
people can come and say, "Hey, I found this. What do you think of
Yeah.
this?" Or "I made this today and I think it's a healthier recipe," or "What do you do for this?" or "What can I use this for?" I
Mhm.
like
Oh,
all that too.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. I have to interject here that I love, hearing positive things about direct sales because you hear so much negative, and the fact of the matter is that when it matches your passion and you really want to serve people and better their
Yes.
lives, and the products are something that you use and love, it's all good, it's a
Yes.
win-win, and so
Mhm.
all of the negative PR that's out there about direct sales and multi-level marketing, ugh, I just get so sick of hearing it, so it
Yeah.
sounds like this has been such a good fit for you and your
It
family,
it
and that it
really
continues to
has.
serve you, and you continue to serve others,
Yeah.
and that's what it's about,
It
that's
it really
what.
has been such a blessing, and I mean, even my husband, who was a little skeptical at first
Mhm.
about me signing up, I was skeptical about me signing up at first
Well,
too.
yeah,
I
nobody
I
knows, there's no
told
guarantee.
Martha, my
Mhm.
consultant, I told Martha, "Okay, I wanna try some stuff, but don't even try to get me to have a party, let alone sign up." I was
Right.
like, "Oh,
I
I
think
really
that's how
like the
everybody
stuff I
feels.
tried." I
Right.
borrowed some stuff and I'm like, "Well, I really like it and I can't afford all of it, so maybe I should have a party and I can get some free stuff." And then I
Mhm.
saw what she was doing. I was like, "Well, this is stuff I already talked to people about, and they have it on cue cards for you, so you don't have to memorize anything.
Yeah,
And you don't
make
have to
it
spend
simple.
hours on graphics and all that kind of stuff. It's already there.
Yeah,
Huh, maybe
that's
I
very
should sign
cool.
up." And my husband
Very
was like, "Well, this is all stuff we're gonna use anyway, and if you can get it for a huge discount, I'm
Yeah,
all for it, go
right,
for it,
right.
honey."
We don't all wanna be, like, bazillionaires. Sometimes we
No.
just want to,
Yeah.
enjoy what we do and all that good
Yes,
stuff.
and there's room for all kinds of people in direct sales, whether you wanna do it for a discount. Well,
Mhm,
I don't know if every company allows you to do that, but Pure Haven does. They allow you to do
mhm,
it just for the discount.
mhm,
Um, all the way up to you wanna earn the car and the trips and the diamond jewelry. There's room for everybody at each end
mhm.
of the spectrum and everything in between. I'm kind of in between. I earned a trip to Jamaica. Of course, it got canceled because of COVID. But then
Oh,
what they did was they gave us, credit towards whatever trip we wanted to take the following year, and
that's
so
good.
my family and I went to Florida for a couple weeks, and it was paid for.
That's
Um,
awesome.
I during all the shutdowns, my husband's a teacher, so he was basically just teaching virtually. And in the beginning of all that, there really wasn't a whole lot of teaching going on. So I was able to really spend a lot of time on this, and I was able to pay our mortgage for a couple months. I mean,
Wow.
like, what kind of blessing can direct sales be
Mhm.
for someone? Whether you
Mhm.
just want it for the discount to save some money on your products, or you want to make an extra 500,000, however much a month. You
Mhm.
know,
That's very cool.
how much would really bless you?
Mhm. Are there other, brands or other companies that come to mind, if someone says, "Okay, so that's one of my go-tos then if I wanna start
Mhm.
living toxin-free." Are there a couple others that you can recommend?
Well, one that I love is Crunchy. So
That's
I
the name
don't
of
sell
it?
Crunchy.
Okay.
It's Crunchy, Crunchi.
Okay.
Um, I love Pure Haven for everything we have, but
Mhm.
we don't have lipstick, we don't have eyeshadow. We have tinted moisturizer, but we don't have foundation. So, that was something I had to look into, like, what can I trust? And so I have a local friend who does Crunchy, and I was like, "Okay, but really?" She's like, "No, I understand because I'm a Pure Haven girl too, but yes, the makeup, I do trust their makeup, and I've been using it for a while now. I used to have really sensitive skin, so pretty much anything that's toxic I put on my skin's probably gonna react somehow, and I haven't had
Mm.
any issues with it, and I have read
Mhm.
their ingredients. And, one, like, green light for me with them was I was talking to my friend, that sells Crunchy, that I get Crunchy from, and I was like, "Yeah, well, I looked at this other brand, and they said they were clean." And she's like, "Oh, yeah, but they use phenoxyethanol." I'm like, "So
Oh,
Crunchy is
monoxydethanol.
good then, because they know not to use that, because that's one of those preservatives that even organic products can use and get away with, but I know
Hmm.
I don't want that." So I was like, "Okay, so they do meet my standards." So I do like Crunchy, and I guess I really I don't good out too much on different brands for, like, skin, hair, body, home, because Pure Haven has it all, and if I can get
Mhm.
it all from them, why not?
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
like it, and Crunchy. Um, I would
Okay.
say for, like, food, um, for food stuff, I go wherever I can get it.
Mhm.
So, we do a lot of shopping at Aldi.
Mm.
They do have a lot of organic produce now. Sometimes, depending on which area you're in, it can be hit or miss whether you're going to get a bunch of bruised apples or not. So you do kind of have to look over
Right.
it. Um, but it's more about what you're buying than necessarily where you're buying it with the food, I think.
Okay.
Um, and again, looking at ingredients can be important because even some of the natural stuff can have like 10 grams of added sugar per serving. And I'm
True.
like, if I'm looking for stuff to feed, well, even myself, but my kid, it's hard to get protein in him sometimes. And so if I'm
Mhm.
looking at protein bars and it's got 10 grams of added sugar, I'm like, nope. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
the
not giving him
sugar
that much
thing
sugar
is
just to
so
get protein.
complicated.
I'd rather give
Even
him a
draining.
spoonful of almond butter. Just, you know what, kid, just live off of almond butter. That's fine. If that's what we got, that's what we got. But
Right, right. Now what
yeah,
about, you mentioned EWG. Is there,
yes.
any other place that people can go online to become like you so that they are in the know with what
So
ingredients to avoid?
if this is something you're kind of just starting out with and you kind of want to go through the products in your house, I do recommend this pocket guide
Okay.
because I'm sorry, there we go. Put it in front of me. This pocket guide or the one online, and just sometimes I just challenge people, you know what? You're just starting out. Why don't you do this? Go through the products in your house and see how much is already in there.
Mhm.
Um, you can use the apps, like Think Dirty is another one. There's a couple new ones out. I don't even remember what they're called. You can
Mhm.
use them, but just use them as like a starting point. Don't use them as like a textbook necessarily,
Hmm.
because they will. I know EWG, for one, the Skin Deep app is their app. They will mark something as dangerous just because it has an essential oil in it that you could be allergic to. So to me, that's kind
Mm.
of like that
Right.
loses a little credibility. So you just kind of have to watch. and read what they say is dangerous. And sometimes they give the green light to things that I'm like, I'm not going to recommend a product to people that I care about that has that in it, even if you say that there's no studies. Well, no studies just means nobody has paid to study that ingredient. That
Right.
doesn't mean it's safe. So,
Right. Oh,
yeah. So,
such a complicated
yeah.
topic, really, but thank goodness we have somebody like you that can help us figure it out. So if someone wants to get a hold of you to continue this conversation, like
Yeah.
what you mentioned your private group is, what is that
Yes.
called?
It is called Pure Home and Life with Katie.
Pure Home and Life with Katie, and that's on
Yes,
Facebook,
it
correct?
is.
Okay.
And I can give people my last name too. I'm the only one of me on Facebook because I have a very unusual last name.
Okay.
So we can share that with people too.
Okay.
If you want to message me on there, I don't mind giving out my phone number to people if they, I don't know
Okay.
how public this is. Maybe,
Oh,
I
it's
don't know.
public.
It's pretty public.
And I've noticed a couple people saying that they do want that brochure, the list, so
Okay.
we can
Yeah.
get back with them as well.
Yes,
So,
absolutely. And
all
I
right.
think, you know, Pure Haven does do home shows if people are interested in this topic, specifically about skincare and body care and cleaning products, and toxins we're exposed to every day. We do shows. So
Mhm.
some people like to do them in their homes because they like to try the stuff that I have to offer. Some people just like to do it online because it's so much easier for them to
Right.
not have to leave the house. So I do both. It's a good way to learn more about the topic and learn more about Pure Haven's solutions for that.
Mhm.
But yes, the group is good too. The Pure Home and Life with Katie. I think the link for that is actually facebook.com/groups/Pure Life with Katie.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And I do see a question.
Okay.
Fran wants to know if you have a garden to grow your own food. Has that become one of
So
your go-tos?
um, it has become part of my go-tos. However, I have nothing to do with it.
It's all Sam, huh?
It is. It's my husband, and he wishes I had more to do with it. But honestly, I will look at something and be like, I don't know whether that's a weed popping up or if that's our precious vegetable sprout coming up. So
Gotcha.
I'm not great with that. I'm pretty good at harvesting stuff,
Right. Yeah. Or
but even
eating it.
sometimes I'm like, can I just pull it off? He's like, no, you need to cut that one off, or else it's going to ruin the plant. So he's better at that than I am.
I
I think
enjoy
we do
gardening a
different stuff
lot.
every year. So I think we had tomatoes, cucumbers, herbs this year. Herbs are pretty easy. Garlic, we did garlic in the fall.
Mm,
Beets. I can't remember what else we did. Oh, potatoes. Potatoes are really good.
yeah, that's
Potatoes are so good, homegrown. They're so yummy. Yeah.
mhm.
Yes.
Very nice. Well, awesome. This has been awesome. And I see so many comments like I love this conversation. I'm really interested in this. So I know people are really excited to have this conversation with you. Do you have any final thoughts as we say farewell?
I would just say if this is something that concerns you and you want to get on a healthier path for whatever reason, um, don't get overwhelmed because
Mm,
that it's so easy to do because there's so much out
mhm,
there. And like I said, it is like a whole lifestyle change, but you don't have to do it all at once overnight.
mhm.
Um, take baby steps. You can, if you talk with me and you have a budget in mind or you have a certain priority in mind, we can talk about both and see how it can work for your life. Um, so don't get overwhelmed. There are ways to do it to fit your budget. There are ways to do it to fit your mind budget, your brain budget, as well as your financial budget. So you can take it
Awesome.
slow. You can jump in all at once. There's so many ways to do it. So
Perfect. Perfect. All right. So I'm sure everybody's convinced that Katie is your go-to person to live a toxin-free lifestyle. So make sure that you reach out to her with your questions, join her private group on Facebook. She is going to be big, big, big. I'm already talking her into having a YouTube channel. Okay. So just stay tuned for that.
I'm going to need a
So,
lot of help with that. I had to have
oh,
my
yeah.
husband help me set up like the camera and everything. So
Oh, well, you did a fabulous job. So
thank
this
you.
it's all good. I see big things happening. So thanks so much for your time.
Thank you. It was
And
really, I
this was
enjoyed it.
wonderful. Awesome. So everybody, if you're watching the replay, give us a hashtag replay and you can still ask questions. We will be checking in and responding to you. Do not be shy. Katie loves what she does, as you can tell. So ask questions, send her messages, ask to join her group. She will definitely follow up with you. Make sure that you like these videos, whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. Follow us, and we sure appreciate your support. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to Michelle Fox Beauty on YouTube. If you've not yet followed my page, you want to follow Michelle Fox Beauty on Facebook. Thank you very much, and I will see you next week. And I guess Katie and I are going to say goodbye. So thanks for
Bye.
your time. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.